Hey, welcome everyone. So this video is going to be different from what we've been posting on YouTube. Some of my friends want to see a recipe on how I make my tortillas. So this is going to be a quick video on how to make flour tortillas. Stay tuned. So first, we need to talk about what we're going to need to make tortillas. So I usually get the big 20-pound bags, but I get that at Sam's. But when I got each of these, is what I used to use on the rig when I was working. So this is a 5-pound bag, all-purpose flour. Lard, you can use butter, but I like to use lard. You don't need salt. Make sure that you don't get real grainy salt, because then your tortillas will get flaky and they fall apart. And baking powder. We use very little of the baking powder, but this is one of my favorite ones. Just a little bit. It goes a long way. You don't need a sieve, but I like to use a sieve. It just makes my tortillas a lot smoother. So this big old pot is a 60. Yeah, this is a 6-quart stainless steel bowl that I used. I started off with a 2-quart, and that was doing fine. But I use a lot of tortillas, so I make a lot of flour tortillas. Of course, you're going to use your teaspoons and all just to make sure that we do it. So this is a cutting board that I just use to make tortillas. It's wood, I can clean it, and it takes the flour pretty good. And of course, my rolling pin, I got this one at HEB for like $3, so it's not very expensive. The old chicken, that's probably going to be another video on its own. Like you mentioned, the kitchen video. So what we're going to do, I'm going to sieve some of the flour. I'm going to keep, and of course your measuring cup. I forgot about the measuring cup. So this is just to get some hot water from the tap. So I'm going to sieve some of the flour, and we're going to leave some in a small bowl just so I can grab and use to flour the pan and the board, just so we can. So let's do that. See how the flour is a bit clumpy? When you run it through the sieve, it makes it just a little bit finer. I find that makes my tortillas a lot softer. I'm gonna make all 5 pounds just because I have a big family, but you can scale it down. You can use, or I might just do half a bag. That way you can have a little over 15-20 tortillas. You can see it kind of makes it a little more. A lot smoother there. Half a bag. Right at half a bag, so 2.5 pounds. This will make quite a bit of tortillas there. So I'll put this. So I'm gonna add the dry products, and I'm gonna separate some for the dusting. I'm just gonna add. Okay, so for each pound, I use about a tablespoon of salt. So I'm going to do just a little over 2. Go with 1 there. That's 2. And we'll taste the flour, make sure that it's got enough salt. Yeah, that's pretty good. Maybe a little bit more. It's about 2.5. That's 2.5 tablespoons right there. Mix it a little bit. We're gonna take a teaspoon, 1 teaspoon. I'm not gonna have a rounded one off, so we're just gonna kind of put that in there evenly. And that's all that takes. It doesn't take much. So we're just gonna mix that in there. So I'm gonna separate some of this. That should be enough, about a cup or so. There you go. Okay. So, lard. Here is where we get into a lot of discussions and how different families make their tortillas. I'm going to show you my way of telling that I have enough lard in it. So this is white lard, so you can, this is a pound, I believe. 16 ounces is 1 pound. So I'm going to use almost half a pound. And this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this fork and I'm just going to kind of press it on the sides. And we're going to distribute this to it. Press. You can use your hands. To me, I find it easier. I don't have to be taking all that lard off my hands afterwards and just making a bigger mess. So you push it up on the side of the bowl and it's going to mix in with the flour. So this is how I know that I have enough. It kind of gets crumbly. And that means that there's lard in that flour. When you put too much, it gets crumbly, like really small. So that's kind of right there, right at the edge of just a little bit too much. But we're in good shape because I'm going to be using that flour to be dusting it, and this should offset it because that one doesn't have flour. Okay, so water. The water we're going to do is only from the tap. You don't have to boil it, as long as the lard kind of melts into the fat, into the flour. 1 cup. So again, I'm going to take my fork, incorporate the flour into it. Just kind of fold it in a little bit. It's going to be a little heavy.
Keep stirring. Pour.
Okay, here. We got to get in there hard. You don't want to wet the flour too much, because then it's hard to come back from that. So put a little bit more. Now we're starting to get it incorporated. A little bit more water. Let me finish it. Okay. So there's the consistency that I want. Not yet, not yet. So we're not gonna mess with this too much. I'm gonna kind of pack it in a little bit. You're gonna be able to tell where there's some dry spots in the bowl. So we're gonna hit it with some more water. So that's 2 cups and 2.5 pounds. And I'm gonna need just a little bit more.
They said that people, hey, Dad, can I mess with this flour a bit?
Hold on, hold on. I'm gonna need just a little bit more water. Okay, so I'm gonna need just a little tad bit more water. Okay. So this is it right there. It's a little bit tacky. It's a little bit tacky. There's some little dry spots. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna set it back in here. We're gonna let it sit for at least 30 minutes to an hour. We're gonna cover it with a plastic. Okay, so it's been 30 minutes, 40 minutes. And so really all it did was the fat kind of melts into the dough, and it's called the reposado. So we're gonna put some of this flour over it. It's easier to handle. We're gonna flour our boards. Our palo. Okay. So I'm gonna move this for right now. So we're not gonna knead it very much. I just want to make sure that there's no real dry spots in there, which it all looks pretty good. We just want a consistency, you know, a real smooth consistency. There's a little bit of dry spots in there, so we kind of just that's it for the dough. So we'll put it back in the bowl, and we're gonna start making our dough balls. So the dough balls are really small. Let's see. Depends on how big you want to make them, but for me, the palm size is what I go by. I'm gonna turn on my pilot. It's gonna be on medium. I'm not gonna go too high on it. We're gonna go a little medium high. So you want to flour all this. It's gonna be a little grainy because of the salt didn't get any fluid in it. So one roll, turn. So here's where you can make them as thick as you want. I like them kind of thin. I don't like them too thick. And that's it. So I want to make them bigger. I get a little bit more dough, a little bit more flour here. The flour is just going to make it easy to handle. Are you guys ready to eat?
Can I play with this? The goo?
Just a little bit. Get a little bit. So if you start with a round, this is called, in Spanish, it's called tostada. You start with a round dough ball. It's easier to make round tortillas. Tortilla. One other thing that I need to explain is the comal. You can buy them pretty cheap in the Mexican supermarkets, and they're pretty cheap. They're about $7-8. But you can use a pan, you can use a cast iron skillet, and it'll do the same thing. The only thing is that the skillet you can only do one at a time. So when you put a lot of flour like I do, you get smoky. So make sure that you have a ventilation on your hood. If not, just use less flour, just so it gets actually a little too hot. So when we're done cooking them, make sure that we spread them out while they cool off, or you can eat them all like people that I know around this house end up eating them right off this towel. But make sure you air them out, that way you can put them in a Ziploc, and they'll be easy to separate. If not, if you cool them off directly from into a Ziploc, they're going to stick to each other. So make sure that you spread them out here, and then just wait till they cool and put them in a gallon-sized Ziploc. And these will be for sale. Nah, I'm just kidding. But these will be. This will last maybe a couple days for us. So that's it for our first cooking video on our YouTube channel. And if you have any questions, leave a comment, share, and tell your friends about us. Make sure that you subscribe and hit that notification bell. That way when I put up another video, you get an instant message. And that's about it. Thank you. Catch y'all later.